Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are taking down the 6-man fight, the brand new fight. One mistake I made on this is I didn't realize there was a ticket mission for using Vivi, so I'm going to have to run this again with Vivi on the team. But this run went pretty well, and I would say that this run, definitely if you don't bring the right units, can definitely be very deadly. Like, it's very aggressive. There's an enemy that basically will just counter you constantly, so you have to have a way to deal with it. So I think they're, obviously Warrior of Light is still recent enough that they're probably still promoting him. And then I think it's a good way to promote Arciela, because I think her HP silence would be really good in this fight. I decided just to use Warrior of Light and just keep him out there to, like, keep my party safe, essentially. And I did want to, like, feature Tifa here a little bit, right? Like, Tifa's damage, just to show her damage is still very good, right? That's 800k from a free instant turn attack. But right away, I noticed, oh my god, there's a counter. So, like, I gotta do something. Because I didn't read anything. I just kind of went into the fight, right? So I'm like, all right, we need to single target the guy who isn't countering. So that's where Tifa is good, is you can kind of focus on one enemy. The other thing you're going to notice is these enemies cannot be broken. So that's also a problem. So I'm like, all right, we got to get Warrior of Light's effect up right away. So I just pop LD right away. That's going to give us lock. It's going to give us shields. And now you can see that would have killed us. Doesn't kill us anymore. Warrior of Light keeps us safe. So my goal here, as I'm like switching through other characters on my bench, I just make sure I always keep Warrior of Light active so that I can basically stay alive. So as long as we kind of keep Warrior of Light going in full force, we're pretty much good here, right? And then Penelo, we're going to do Penelo and just kind of ramp and do some things. I brought Neon and Core and Terra. Now, Core, I actually ended up not using at all. My thought was when I get into like my FR Echo, I could kind of use a bunch of Echoes and then trade out one of my Echo characters for Core and then kind of link Core to somebody and get more off turn that way. It didn't really end up working out. I didn't really need to do it. So Core, I probably could have just put something different in there. But one thing I learned from doing this fight, if you have room for it on a 6-man fight, and if you have Terra Echo is really good for 6-man. And I do it in this fight. The reason why Terra is so good is when you pop your FR and you're starting to do Echo stuff, your first character that pops up, you can swap in for Terra, double Echo for free, swap back into the original character and Echo again. You essentially get 3 Echoes in one turn. So it can really ramp quick, and it just really speeds things up. So I'm pretty sure moving forward that if I have room, I am going to try to get Terra on the 6-man quest. So when I run this again for Vivi, essentially what I can do is I could just swap Core for Vivi. And Vivi, I think, can just sit on the bench the whole time and you still get the mission for it, right? Now, Vivi is very usable here, obviously. The quest is, built during his cycle. The big thing with these bosses, you can see they keep up their force gauge pretty good here. So they are going to hit a force, and it's a very long force. And they do some nasty thing like that. I think it was the enemy on the right. It's like becomes super defensive, very hard to kill. So this is a fight where I found like, I really wanted to cancel their force. And the way you cancel their force is by doing a force attack with fire. Well, there's a lot of ways to hit that, right? So obviously just doing Vivi or Neon, like those straight fire characters work. But if you built Neon, if you have the party True Fire enchanted, you can basically just have any FR character do the FR and it should still trigger just fine, provided you have them fire enchanted. You can do it with calls. So needing to do a fire attacking FR actually isn't that restrictive because there's a ton of ways you can hit that. Once again, you could enchant with the character that does it, you could throw a call down, or you flat out could just use an FR of a fire character, which, as I've talked about, there's been a lot of those this month, and we've got Rubicante coming, who is another fire character. So fire, which in my opinion was probably one of the weakest overall elements in the game, has gotten a ton of buffs over the past couple of months, and now fire's looking actually really good. There's a ton of great options now for fire, which is really cool, right? So we're just kind of going through, but I said I had to ramp up pretty quick here because the enemies got up to 85%. So now we're going to go into Penelo. So let's see how this goes. I knew this would be a tough fight because 6-man fights are always really tough. There's always a lot of mechanics and the bosses have a lot of HP. So I was actually really excited for this fight because this is the first time I can really test Echo, right? Like, how strong is Echo when I actually get enemies that aren't just incinerated before I can get through a burst phase, right? So here we go. Let's see how much these enemies can take with an Echo. And once again, this is also like my channel is basically like a Penelo promotion because I use Penelo in like every video. She's still so good. So here we go. Penelo Force. They've got a superior shield. They're going to do some counterattack stuff. We got shields. We're all good. Now, Warrior of Light actually 8 damage there, so his shields actually got beaten down enough that he took damage. So I got a little bit worried there. Warrior of Light does have Last Stand, so it would have been fine. But I'm like, all right, let's just... I wasted a Force turn just to put Raijin on, because that got me scared. Realistically, I should put Raijin on sooner, but I just felt so safe with Warrior of Light. But yeah, I got scared there, so I wasted a Force turn to put on the Raijin call. It was worth it. So here we go. We took Tifa out because, like, Terra, she can just come in as, like, an Echo bot. So Terra's going to come in. She's going to double Echo. Like, I said this from the very beginning when Terra first dropped. She is going to age out fairly quickly as, like, a damage dealer, but she has a lot of value in this double Echo you can just pop off, especially in a 6-man fight. So, one, we're getting really good damage there. They can counter us. We don't care. We got Warrior of Light shields. But look, they're instant turn attacks, so we can just double Echo, get the gauge going very quickly, and get to some big numbers, right? So, and I've been wanting to do combos like this, but the current, like, every Echo fight that's come out, like, the bosses just don't have enough HP. So it's nice to finally get something with some really tanky bosses that we could really try it out. So there we go, double Echo. Now we can just trade right back into Tifa where we were, and then I can just go into Tifa Echo now. So, let's see how much damage we get from a Tifa Echo. Tifa's still very good, by the way. She's putting up some big numbers, right? So, we attack this counter guy. We're like, why not? We got Warrior of Light. But yeah, all that extra HP damage she's getting. The follow-ups now with her BT effect. Yeah, dude, that was 20 mil we just shot off there with Tifa. And we were only at like 300-something%. Tifa is putting up crazy numbers. So, this is why... Like, you know, I saw some comments saying, well, Tifa's not going to be good for AoE fights. Well, the 2-target fights, she's fine, because when you're putting up 20 mil shots that early, you're going to annihilate the single-target enemy so quick that you can just bounce between the two. That's kind of the way Tifa's always been. She's so powerful at single-target that if there's 2 targets, she's still very much worth running. So here comes Penelo finally getting another turn. We're on turn 8. So I believe we start the Fatal Dance here. Okay. So what I decided to do here, because we're on turn 8, we've done like 3 echoes, right? Because the thing is, you don't need to like constantly echo. You just got to get pretty high. So I'm like, let's just intercession at this point, do some big damage, and let's just go burst phase. And then I can Fatal Dance through. We're going to heal up any damage we're missing. So Warrior of Light still had a little bit of damage gone there. So we're going to Fatal Dance, just heal everything up, and just do a ton of damage, right? So now here we go. You know, starting Penelo off at like 500+%, and we can just Fatal Dance the rest of the way through, do a lot of damage. So at this point, I'm like, all right, let's just see how much damage we get here. And if we need to go into another force, we will do that. We'll just see where the enemies are at, right? And once again, these are very tanky boys, so they're eating a lot of damage. But yeah, there you go, 7 mil with the 10 mil. I think the enemy on the left, he must have some like HP damage reduction, because I noticed this whole time he's taking a little bit less than the other enemy. Yeah, 7 mil as opposed to 12 mil on the other enemy. But this is fine. They have mechanics that are going off, whatever. But I'm noticing the enemy on the right is just has a lot less health. So I'm trying to focus on the left enemy, but they're, you know, these are all AoE attacks anyways. So yeah, we Fatal Dance all the way through. Got up to about pretty much max, right? Max force gauge, which is what we expected. Okay, and then we just do Resplendence. And here's the thing. I've got another Penelo Force I can do, and I still have plenty of Echo I can still hit. So it's like, this is kind of what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a fight where I didn't just instantly kill it with one force time. So this was nice, and now I can see moving forward. So 146 mil, pretty good there. Pretty free and easy. So we got an enemy at 41, and the other one's at 14. Now, this enemy on the right ends up doing something pretty troublesome, which you'll see, because they're about to go into force. Now, once again, Warrior of Light just saving our butts constantly here. Also, we do still have Raijin debuff up, I believe. And when enemies do like off-turn and counter stuff, it doesn't subtract from their debuffs. They only lose debuff count when they take actual turns. So Raijin, you can get a lot of longevity out of a Raijin call here, right? So yeah, with Tifa, I'm like, well, she's got her BT effect up. Let's just pop off some damage, right? Some really big damage there. And yeah, that enemy on the right, he is such a pest with all of the constant counters. I don't know how effective evade is in this fight. I did read the boss info. Yeah, look at the enemy's taking 0 damage. We're only getting the true damage overflow here. So I'm like, I don't know what is up with this guy, but it's because we're in force time. And so that right enemy basically gets darn near unkillable during force. So at this point, I realize we've got to get rid of their force time, because that enemy on the right is going to take like no damage. And I don't want to sit around and let these guys take 10 turns. Like, I do not want to do that. So I'm like, how do we end their force gauge? So I had to read it here. So dealing fire, magic, brave damage. So I guess it's not any character FR. It's got to be a magic damage dealer. But once again, as long as they're a magic damage dealer that can at least be enchanted, you would be good to go. So Neon would count, right? Neon and Vivi, they're both magic damage dealers. She would be good to go there. But once again, if you got Neon, you could enchant Terra and then do Terra FR. That should work, right? So basically now at this point, I'm like, all right, we just got to get into this FR as fast as we can. So I'm going to like Pinello ramp like crazy. And it's like, we got to pop off a fire FR. So luckily we can just pull that from our bench at any time. The thing that's really nice with 6-man fights, right? And they build these fights where they want you to utilize a lot of characters. Do you actually need 6? No, you could do this with a 3-person fight for sure. Like you could just use your front team. But I like utilizing the bench. I like having fun with it. You can do shenanigans where like someone can come in just to put on a trap and then they can skate out. Or we can do like we did with Terra. We're just going to abuse her echo and then skate out. It's fun to do that kind of stuff, right? Like I said, the only character I didn't end up using here was Core. I wish I had put Vivi there because then I would have gotten the tickets. And just to clarify on the tickets, because I honestly myself was a little confused about this. So we're getting the special tickets that have like the numbers on them. And these are like true multi-draw tickets that you get G tokens with, right? What you may have noticed is you're earning tickets right now and you can't actually summon with them. What they're doing that I actually like is the tickets you get actually work for the next event. And I like that because then up front when the banner drops, you've got all your free draws out of the way and then you know what you still need to summon for. I originally thought like you earn tickets for the event you were on, which that would have been nice to get them faster. But then the bad part is you would have to like try to get all the events done to truly know what your free summons are. And what would happen for especially a player like me that wants to do character guides, I would be pulling for the whole kit and then have the free tickets after. So I actually like this format that the ticket's going to work for the next event and you just get to see everything up front. Meanwhile, we got into the Force. We used Neon. We just brought Neon in off the bench. And I thought it was worth taking out Pinello because we just had to get Neon out there. And then we go back in here. And now we're operating on Neon's Force time, right? So we can just get as much Echo as we can. I decide to summon just to not let this guy get any more turns. And then at this point, we're just going to try to burn him down. But yeah, we just had to end that Force time because it was looking pretty nasty with that right enemy like taking no damage. So we just had to put a stop to that. So I do think like bringing fire here is pretty darn important just to avoid that. Now, I probably could have optimized my first Force enough to like maybe we can kill them before they get their Force off. I'm sure that's totally doable, totally possible. But for my first run, like this was a blind run pretty much, right? I just like basically when I built my team, I said, I'm just going to bring a bunch of Echo characters and Pinello. I only left like one Echo slot off for Core because I thought Core could be useful, and he certainly would be. He just didn't come into play for me, but I very easily could have just slid another Echo character there, like Vivi, right? And then basically I ran a Pinello and then full Echo team. Because then you just pop off FRs and you can Echo a ton, and with 6 characters, you just have so many uses of that stuff. So really it's just about surviving, which I said, Warrior of Light was really clutch here for that. I do think you could make use of Arciela, because the nice thing with Arciela, her damage is pretty bad right now, but she is very useful utility for like her healing and then the HP silence. With 6-man fight, bringing Arciela doesn't really hurt your team comp because you bring her in, drop the HP silence, then you just bring in somebody else. And then when you see that debuff about to fall off, just bring Arciela back in. So they definitely showcase like how you can get some really good use out of Arciela here. So right enemy at 3%. We're still going. Decided to pop off an EX with Warrior of Light. I just hadn't used one yet, so I'm like, yeah, let's just use it. It sounds fun. But now the enemies are about to like get turned, so I'm a little scared. So I'm like, well, let's do free turn stuff with Tifa. And look at the damage on the full throttle. Big damage. 10 mil there on the full throttle. Very, very nice. And then Tifa's up again. I could do more free instant turn, but I'm like, I think this enemy's not going to kill us. Like, Warrior of Light shield should still be going strong. But I do decide to do a free turn here just to go back to back. Because that's the thing you can do with Tifa. You can just spam right here, right? So if I wanted to, like, I mean, that was 9 mil. So I probably would have been fine just battle crying out and probably would have won. But I'm like, I don't know. I kind of want to do something else. I was double checking to see if I had any more Echo, but I had used up all my Echo. So I'm like, yeah, we'll just stick with it. I think I Dolphin Blow here because I can get the launch. I'm pretty sure. And Dolphin Blow is going to delay also. Yeah, so we Dolphin Blow because this is big damage. We're going to get some launch damage here. Yeah, after all of the follow-ups, right? Just so much damage. And then we attack through here. So this was nice to showcase Tifa a little bit, because I didn't like redo her character guide. So it's just nice to see that her damage is really good. The Echo really helps her. And I'm like, sure, let's Neon BT, give everybody fire. See how much damage we get here. I'm going to give the enemy a turn, unless we kill him, but I don't think we kill him on this hit. Pretty sure we got this. Pretty sure we got this here. Alright. So yeah, enemy's got 4%, so they're going to get an attack off here. But once again, we got Warrior of Light. We've got the power. Warrior of Light is a cheat code. If you don't want to die, bring this man. Like, literally, you can see how aggressive these guys are. Everything they're doing is HP damage, HP damage, HP damage. Like, you need mitigation of some kind to deal with it, or that HP silence. HP silence will really shut them down here. The one thing I didn't look for is if they, like, cleanse themselves at all. But I don't think they really did. They stayed debuffed, like, the whole time. So I think we're good. And then Tifa with the finishing blow. So anyways, guys, there you go. That's my 6-man fight. I probably won't record my second one because I think I'm just going to do something similar with just Vivi on the bench. So anyways, let me know what you ran for this if you thought this was a fun event. But I liked it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.